I met a gypsy.
Skating just hadn't quite hit in that way yet. Like it had, its boom in the 80s and then it died in the 90s. And then, like you said, I think my dad's game is like, it was crazy seeing that happen in real time because I saw the prototypes of the game coming home. My dad showing me, like, we'd play them and there would be like no background. It would just be just the skater and the level. Way. And I was like, well, this is cool, a skate video game. And then it was like, that's like, talk about cultural phenomenon. Like it just, whatever, there's something was happening in the world where everything came together at the perfect time. And it was just like, it might as well be, I don't know. It's like a movie, like a famous movie. Everyone knows the game, it's crazy.
And the soundtrack, like it just had everything. Man, like chicks played that.
For sure.
Like it was just, it transcended skating.
Yeah.
I wonder if, like, just fully thinking out loud, like, I wonder if it even just stopped people skating because they just got such a good fix of skating on the game. And
I don't know. I think it did a lot for people maybe that couldn't skate year round. We're really lucky here in Southern California. You can skate all year pretty much. So I don't know.
Yeah, but it was just like a complete phenomenon.
Yeah,
almost like
it was kind of the
it
was like the first of its kind of game, and I think I have a lot of respect for my dad because he really stuck to his guns with how he wanted it to be done, and they could have definitely taken a wrong turn, and it could have been this corny, I don't know, game. And
because there were a couple skate games after it that were like very arcade.
There's been before and after. There's Skate obviously, which kind of became the more like sought after game after, just because the controls were a bit more like akin to how it felt to really skate. Like I've played Skate all the time and it's weird. I feel like I know how to do a trick with my thumb on Skate in the same way in the real world. It like translated really well, but I think my dad's game, just if you go back and play them, it's like pretty crazy the stuff they were putting in a game that was that like famous and popular to like the normal culture. Like they had like Officer Dick and like all these crazy challenges, and like it was just a cool, like I felt like it really stuck to skating's like core roots, and that kind of translated well when normal people picked it up. I feel like they understood skating a lot better, I think that was a cool thing that it did for skateboarding for sure.
That's one thing about skating, is that it had a culture, like a very clearly defined culture, and you didn't have to skate to be a part of that culture, if that makes sense.
For sure. I think like, because I was around this whole time when my dad obviously got really, really famous to the point where it's, he's like a Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods name nowadays. And then I was there when BAM was becoming BAM because they all skated for Audio Footwear, which was what my dad skated for. And all these people that were like becoming as famous as, household movie stars, like basketball players, whatever you want, football players. And I was just a kid there around for it all because my dad had me pretty young. So I was...
How old were you when that was going on?
Probably would have been like between 8 and 10 when things were really starting to...
So old enough.
Old enough, yeah. I remember like the houses getting bigger, the notoriety, like him getting noticed more. My younger brothers were a little too young, I think, to notice that stuff. But because the 900 thing was pretty like significant, but that was not even close to what the video game did to like his day-to-day life, because like it's just, that game is like transcended skateboarding.
And in every country.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
Just Google how many copies would have got sold of that.
Oh man, I think it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's got to be one of, I feel like, Tony Hawk Pro Skater, Grand Theft Auto, Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Like there's a couple of just huge, like you said, it's almost like a
staple.
Movie, like a Marvel
it's like a
movie
staple
kind of thing. Holy fuck, bro.
Over 1 billion, that's insane.
Did you know that?
Yeah, I knew it was close to 1 billion. That's a lot of video games.
God damn. That's fucking crazy. I actually had no idea.
But it still to this day will kind of trip me out on how famous he actually is, because he is so humble and so mellow. And like at the end of the day, he's my dad. Like it's the person that I grew up having, like issues with and good times with, bad times with. Like it's like my dad, when I was being a dumbass, he was the one that had to be there to reprimand me, whatever it is. But
Yeah.
I remember one time specifically, maybe like 7 or 8 years ago, we were out in Tahiti on like a family vacation, and there was like a surf wave that supposedly was close by. That was kind of, my dad always likes to do a family trip once a year, and we'll go to like generally a place where there's like a wave to surf, and it like usually never works out, but for whatever reason this time the wave was actually really good. And it was a really small island, like they didn't even have cars, like it was pretty crazy, like significantly small, not much going on there,
Like
and
out there.
And there was a wave that we took a boat out to, and we pulled up, and there was probably like maybe 15 local guys out, and it was really, really good. I've never even seen footage of this wave before. They actually said
Do you
to
know
us.
the name of it?
I don't. I
That's
honestly.
a cool wave.
Yeah,
That you
it
don't
was a
even know the name
perfect.
of.
Me and my dad are both goofy, and it was a perfect left, probably like head high. Like it kind of reminded me of like a cloud break, just
Like that's mellow takeoff.
mellow
kind of thing.
takeoff, but like really good and not scary to where it's like a reef break that felt
Yeah,
scary. But
yeah.
anyways, we get off the boat, and everyone's just looking at us because they're like, obviously these guys surf it all the time, and they're wondering who the fuck these two white guys are that just got off a boat.
Tattooed white guy.
And there's this huge like guy that was on a boogie board, and he like, we see him kind of talking to each other, and we're like, oh fuck, like they're probably gonna tell us we got a dip or something. And then the guy comes over on the boogie board, and he's just like, Tony Hawk. And I'm like, holy shit, I can't believe this guy actually recognizes who my dad is. And then they were like, you can surf, but no video. And then they like, after that, they were actually really cool. And like sets would come in, and they'd be like, go, they'd like give us the
No
waves. And
way.
we got like so many waves. It was pretty rad. And that was when I was like, man, that is fucking crazy that in that type of like small
Like the
village,
edge of the
island,
world.
edge of the world, they still like, not even like, there's no reason they should know that he would be there at that way. Like they just saw his face and they knew. They're like, yep, that's Tony Hawk.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah, it's
dude.
pretty nuts.
And I've never met your dad, but when we had Ellis in here the other day,
Yep.
and even off camera, well, we were talking at Rampage, and I was just like, "How's the podcast?" Because he like does it, and he's like, "Bro, honestly, the guy you would never fucking know."
Yeah, it's pretty nuts.
He's
man.
like, it's actually, and he knows, obviously, he knows a ton of people too. He's like, it's crazy, dude.
Yeah.
You cannot explain the level of like humble.
The patience is insane. I learned a lot about patience from him because it's nonstop. You go anywhere all day, it's nonstop. And I've never seen him once turn away like a photo, an autograph, like a moment with someone. He taught me a lot about that as someone who was coming into like my own as a skater, just like the importance of taking time to, just have a genuine moment with someone, even if it's a couple minutes and you have to tell them like, hey, I got to go do this thing, but it was like nice talking to you. Like those moments mean so much to people. And you can really see how it has kind of elevated him into this other echelon of like people have a lot of respect for him because I've never once seen him be, like over it or not give someone the time of day. And that's a pretty special thing. I feel like nowadays, especially with the phones and, people are in a hurry all the time. And man, he's so patient. Even like his wife, my stepmom, Kathy, who's a really good friend that, she was around growing up and now they're married, but she has to be the one to be like, okay, we got to go, Tony. Like, come on. It's like, it'll just be like, we'll be on a family vacation and he's chatting with people and he just really understands that. Yeah, exactly. Which is cool.
It's funny too how I feel like people can tell your character in a second.
For sure.
Like you can have a very, very brief, like I've had a couple of like interactions with people where it's like it's in a supermarket or it's somewhere like it's not in a place where you would like expect to have a person recognize you, right? Very quick, very mellow, and then you'll get a message like a couple hours later. And the guy would be like, mate, thanks for the time. Like,
it's huge.
People can tell in such a short period of time. And I don't think people like actually expect that much.
Totally.
I feel like sometimes if you can just like give off that vibe to people, it's almost like such a validation of like, I like that. I knew I liked that guy.
Yeah, I mean, that was
reason,
one thing my dad told me. He's like, I promise you they'll remember that you were awesome to them and they'll always hold that like near and dear. But if you're a dick, they will go around for the rest of their life being like, I met Tony Hawk or I met Jason. They were a fucking asshole. And it's like, that's those moments start to add up, and not like you need to be nice to people just to like avoid being called an asshole. But I think, I don't know, just being a genuine person.
Just
and
being genuine.
My wife says that to me a lot. She's like, it's crazy how she'll notice me. Like I do the same thing because I'll chat with anyone that comes up to me, and she's like, you just talk to them like they're your friend right off the bat, and I can tell it like makes people feel seen and cool. And that's all I try to do is, I just want to be nice to people. I hate people that put people down or like feel like they're too good for something just because they've done something in life. And I think I get that from seeing my dad, who is, maybe renowned as one of the most famous people in the world, or the name at least. And he'll do that all day long, just talk to people and take the time. And it's like, if he can do it, then why the fuck can't anyone else? I don't give a shit what they do,
If you enjoyed this content, please like and subscribe. And to listen to the full 3-hour podcast, search Gypsy Tales in your favorite podcast platform or click the link in the description below. Gypsy Gang.